Okay, how do you explain to people that Bob Geldof is a wanker? Now, these are my videos that I've been putting together because people have asked me to say, well, Thomas, you're very good at. I've seen you talking to, regular people, who are not, part of the alternative, and you seem very good at getting them to listen to you. Well, I just did one on fluoride, and people have said to me, it's happened before a few times, can you make ones on other people? And one person that a lot of people like, but they shouldn't really, is Bob Geldof. Bob Geldof, I don't like him for a number of reasons. Now, one, the Boomtown Rats. Okay, music, let's start with the Boomtown Rats. They're a horrible band. Absolutely awful. It never made any sense why that band was the first Irish band to get a #1 in the UK. I'm pretty sure they were the first Irish band. Maybe them with Van Morrison might have had a #1 in the 60s, but they were from Northern Ireland. But they were the first band in the south of Ireland, I think, that had a #1. Now, their songs are rubbish. Now, let's go into Geldof's background, okay? He wrote songs about, like Rat Trap. The songs were like, about factory life in Dublin. Well, he didn't grow up in like the high-rise blocks. I grew up in the high-rise blocks in Dublin, and he was singing about this stuff he had no experience of. He might as well have been singing about, Beach Boys surfing in Pasadena. It was an alien world to him. He claims to have grown up in a poor background. I know the street he grew up in, Dunleary, which is a sign of it. It's if you get the ferry to Dublin from Wales, that's where it takes you. It's like a town outside in the South Dublin, but it's surrounded by the city. Now, the city has engulfed it, and it's a city within Dublin City. It's got its own. It's not part of Dublin City. It's part of County Dublin, but it's where a lot of rich people have always lived. And the street that he lived on, the houses are like, Regency architecture. They're like mansions, for fuck's sake. And he was singing about life in the high-rise block. He also went to Blackrock College, which is basically Eton or the Harrow of Ireland. So if he was poor, how did his family afford that? His family were immigrants from Belgium. They came to Ireland to make chocolates. That's okay, nothing wrong with that. But he should have, by all accounts, disappeared. I just want to talk about some lyrics in Boomtown Rats songs that never. This would be more for the conspiracy-minded folks. You wouldn't bring this up with your regular folks, but there's two songs. There's always someone looking at you. Is one song where he goes, "I got a friend over there in the government block, and he knows the situation, and he's taking stock." And the song is about people spying on you, which is a very strange song for someone to write about. Especially saying, I know someone who's involved in it. Another song you have from that same period was I Don't Like Mondays. The silicone chip inside her head is switched to overload. Let that one sink in. Okay, let's get back to explaining it to the masses. He is beyond egotistical. Now, he should have vanished into oblivion, but he ended up making the Live Aid thing, and that whole thing, Midjor from Ultravox was 50% involved in that with him, and Midjor was practically written out of it. And I saw a documentary about the making of it, and none of the bands had anything nice to say about Bob Geldof. I think the only one who said anything kind of sort of nice was Brian May from Queen, who comes across as just a lovely man anyway, but he said something like, Bob is a tremendous organizer, he could sell anything. And that was about it. Brian Adams openly came out and called him a cunt on the BBC programme. He didn't do it in such a vicious way when they cunt, like that kind of thing as a joke, but you could tell he meant it. Now, Geldof, after Live Aid, if he didn't do Live Aid, he would have vanished into oblivion. We would have never heard of him ever again. Of course, he has this weird, comeback that makes no sense. Now, his first wife, Paula Yates, she died of a heroin overdose after she got involved in Michael Hutchinson, who also died. Now, she said that if people knew the real Bob Geldof, they wouldn't call him Saint Bob. So there's also photographs of him after he got his knighthood where he's decked out in medals which have to be seen to be believed. He is obsessed with being a somebody and being a member of the elite. Now, you could say, did he feed people in Africa? Well, did he really? Now, I don't know. I mean, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I just don't know. I mean, did that help people? I hope it did. I hope all that money went to help some people. But he has some really sneaky people around him. There's a photograph of him and Tony Blair, who you can tell people is a war criminal, and his head is like leaned on Tony Blair like this, and it'd make you want to vomit. It really, really would. His daughter Peaches. That's another thing. The stupid names he gives his daughters: Fifi, Trixabel, and Peaches. You see, that's just another sign of like, oh, I'm famous. I can name my children like pets. But he writes all these things pretending he's like really concerned about her, and yet she's been pushed into the spotlight from day one. He could easily prevent that, but he doesn't. And if you look at like many of the programs that she's on, he actually has part ownership in some of those companies while claiming, I don't want my children in the spotlight, that kind of thing. He also, one more thing is, you see, we have to demystify these kinds of heroes in all culture. I mean, you know me about celebrity. My attitude is we should only respect their work and not respect anything else. I mean, other things about them could be nice and everything, and they could do things. But if you're a fan of something, you're a fan of the music, and that's the end of it. And I'm a big supporter of that kind of thing, because we have to demolish this celebrity culture thing. Now, if you take out Live Aid and you take out Bob Geldof's political associations, he's crap. His music is crap, his band was crap, and there's no reason for him to have remained successful. So, you know, Geldof annoys so many people, but they don't really know why. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's constantly selling himself. He's constantly elevating himself, and ultimately, at the end of the day, the Bob Geldof industry is about Bob Geldof. And he's one person that people, oh, I really admire Bob Geldof. I really admire him. He's done so much. But this is how celebrities, this fucking thing is killing me. This is how celebrities stay in power. This is how the celebrity culture perpetuates. It's because of these kinds of self-serving charity things that, they sort of, what's the word, beatify, sanctify the celebrity. And when you look deep into it, it's all self-serving. It's like a statement I made years ago was that in one day, regarding Live Aid, in one day in 1985, the whole world came together with one singular objective: to stop that cunt Geldof from vanishing into oblivion.